so much of the A word, I'm going to put it right here, is passive aggressive, underhanded, and for too many decades, eons of time, we have not discussed these tactics. And so the perpetrators of said tactics, and I'm going to talk about men for a minute here. I realize that both can be abusive, okay, but we're going to talk about men for a minute. They have not been called out. The only thing that's been focused on is the physical method of this. And so anytime a woman was beaten down, chipped away at for decades, meant to feel like she contributed nothing, her entire self-worth was constantly chipped away at, that was ignored. And it was, well, did he lay hands on you? I have a friend who's in a horrible situation right now, and was for decades, where her man was verbally, spiritually inflicting this warfare on her and around her very sense of self. And he is asking now, as he's being taken to task in divorce court, well, did I ever lay hands on you? Because this has been the predominant method. This has been the way it has always been. If they don't lay their hands on you, then it is not this thing. But we are now recognizing and realizing these different tactics that, let's talk about it on a micro level. These men have had decades to perfect this underhanded, down low A word of women. And it hasn't been called out. So there was a video on here that my husband was telling me about where a woman is paralyzed in one hand because her husband threw her in the pool as a joke, but now she completely has lost use of her hand because she had a stroke because of that push. And women are stepping up in the comments and telling her the truth, which is that this man secretly hates you. He will, and you can't come back from that. And I guarantee that this man, her husband, is begging her, pleading. She's got her mama and her grandmama telling her that, you know, she should keep the family together and stay with him, and he didn't mean any harm, and he loves you. None of that matters if he secretly hates you and always has, because the consequences of a man secretly hating you are these things. These underhanded, nuanced, hiding in the gray area forms of that we have not called out and have not even recognized until now. And I love this app because in the comment section, you're going to have other women pointing it out, calling it out, showing her this is what's happening in your life. Ignore all of the women that are gaslighting you. Ignore everybody in your life that's ignoring you and telling you you should stay with him. This is what the patriarchy is built on. It's built on lies, and it's built on men being able to really hone their craft on abusing women in all of these subtle ways, but that do real harm and damage. And they're allowed to stay with women. They're allowed to still have that divine feminine energy while perpetrating all of this violence, all of this psychological violence on the women in their lives, mother of their children, psychological violence. And we're calling it out right now and saying, no, this is what that is. It doesn't matter how sly it is. It doesn't matter that he's never laid a hand on you. This is actually abuse, and you need to get out, because that will never change with a man who secretly hates you. And rather than actually healing himself so he doesn't do it anymore, which is what 85% of them, this is the MO and the road that they take, instead of doing any work to heal himself and really look at how he's perpetrating this psychological violence on her, he hones his craft at hiding it, at making it look like it's one thing when it's really another, at coming off like the nice guy, the one that everybody laughs at in the rooms he's in, which is the personality of this perpetrator, of my friend. But behind closed doors, he's perpetuating emotional and psychological violence on the mother of his children. And because he's never laid a hand on her, he thinks he can get away with it and still get her feminine energy. No, it's apps like this that are finally calling that out, and other women that are helping other women to say, no, even if he hasn't laid a hand on you, it's still big time abuse. And honestly, it's worse than, in my opinion, somebody physically hitting you or touching you, because that psychological abuse where it chips away at your sense of self for decades and decades, and pretty soon you don't even have a sense of self and you're completely disempowered. Far worse and far more harmful to women.